With the rains we've had this year, this is kind of the perfect cattleman's dream that we see behind us. A waving sea of grass, no weed problems, no brush problems, plenty to eat going into the winter, a lot of high quality. I mean, what else could you ask for? But we don't get this just by accident. A lot of the things that we do before the rains determine a lot about what we get when the rains come. And taking care of this country through the drought can have a big effect on what happens after the drought breaks, like it did this year. And so that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. And behind me is just across the fence from the last place that we looked at. So we've got the same kind of soils, we've got the same kind of rainfall pattern this year, and yet we're looking at a lot different kind of vegetation. And a lot of people, a lot of cattlemen in particular, will look and say, boy, I'd rather have what's across the fence. But if you've got a guy who's interested in bobwhite quail or scaled quail or a lot of other kind of wildlife, he's just ecstatic about what he sees behind me, because we've got a lot of forbs, we've got a lot of things that are producing seeds for those wildlife, particularly bird species, and that can be a good thing. From a livestock standpoint, what we're looking at can be a good thing, at least at some times of the year. A lot of people look at forbs and they think, well, that's just a bunch of weeds, what I want is grass. But one of the things that I try to impress on people is grass is like the potatoes in your meal. That's the energy for that livestock. Where the steak comes from, where the protein comes from, a lot of times is from the forbs. Now you look at these sunflowers and you say, well, that's a terrible thing. And right now, with them as tall and rank as they are and starting to mature, from a livestock standpoint, they're of very little or no value. But when they're young and vegetative, say less than 4 inches high and maybe 3 leaves on them, annual sunflower is one of the most palatable forbs we have for cattle in the early spring. And if we have something like this coming on, and this happens to be an area that was burned for the wildlife, they've achieved what they wanted. But if we had burned here and not wanted to have these sunflowers show up, if we would come in, graze in early spring and take those out, we can manage what comes later. A lot of the forbs that we have, like cat claw sensitive briar, like some of the other legumes like bundle flowers, some things like Engelmann daisy, those are really, really high quality plants, and just mixing a little bit of that with some old dormant grass in early spring can really improve that diet quality and cut down on the length of time that we have to be feeding protein supplement or hay to these cattle, and can really go a long ways towards making a better forage resource. The diversity that we have allows those animals to mix plants of different types and take care of their dietary needs. And so just having grass or just having forbs is probably a bad thing in most cases, but having a mix of them and managing to have some of those in every pasture can sure be a big boon to us. It also provides a way to have something that's available to respond to rain no matter when it comes. A lot of the cool season grasses like western wheatgrass and needling thread, those can be something that will come out very, very early in the season, provide a lot of quality at that time, can mix it with some other plants, and we can go to nearly probably a 10-month green season here in the Panhandle if we'll just get a little bit of moisture, if we'll manage for some of those cool season plants.